Festival of Motor Racing celebrating BMW Motorsport was a fitting backdrop for rounds 3 and 4 of the F5000 Tasman Cup Revival Series. After a successful opening round in Christchurch and an incident-packed second round at Manfield, the huge field, bolstered by more international entries, headed to Hampton Downs, south of Auckland. One making the trip, an original Formula 5000 competitor from the 70s, was Eric Hager and his Lola T190.
It's a 1970 Lola T190. It's the same car that I raced in the 1970 Professional Series. We traded it in on a new car at the end of 70. It went away from me. I tracked it down and bought it back in 2008 and restored it to the same condition as we raced it in 1970. I'm having the time of my life, and this is a great track, and the only thing better than the track are the Kiwis. They're perfect people. This is the nicest place in the world. I haven't raced in a field this size since 1976. It's wonderful. It's great to see there's a lot of beautiful cars. Covers the full range of Formula 5000, the full evolution of the series.
22 racers would face the start of a race 1 of the round 3 weekend. On pole was frequent UK visitor and the youngest driver in the field, 20-year-old Michael Lyons, driving Dad's Lola T400. Lyons started from pole position and was never headed, despite repeated attacks from the following Kiwis: Dunedin Steve Ross, Ken Smith and Clark Proctor in his march.
With 15 minutes to go, there was a bit of a shower, so we went out on wets, but it seemed to dry up really quick around here, but we had a steady race anyway.
The Essex 20-something repeated the dose in Sunday's race 2, setting a cracking pace. He'd already taken the outright track record to 1.00813 seconds. He won from Steve Ross, who lowered the record again to 1.00497 seconds. Ken Smith and Clark Proctor finishing 3rd and 4th. For the second weekend in a row, a huge field of Formula 5000 cars had descended on Hampton Downs for round 4 of the MSC Tasman Cup Revival Series, all part of the Festival of Motor Racing featuring BMW Motorsport. And for the second time in a week, the field was all chasing young gun Michael Lyons. The writing was on the wall for the youngster in his Lola T400 when he went under the magic minute in the qualifying session. Whilst the racing was close behind the second-generation driver, it was Lyons that would extend his winning streak to again deny Dunedin Steve Ross of his win. So we are set for the second race of the Sunday weekend, and it is 8 laps, and on pole position it is Michael Lyons. Alongside him, Steve Ross, the points leader in the MSC Tasman Cup Revival Series. There is Judy Lyons, that is Michael's mother, at the back of the field. We're on board here with Greg Thornton in the Chevron B24. This is the ex-Peter Gethin car. Tell you more about that when we see some more shots of Greg Thornton. They get down to see the flag, and away we'll go with the 5000s. Plenty of horsepower unleashed onto the tarmac here at Hampton Downs, and it is Lyons that will lead them through. Ken Smith looks to run up the inside of Ross to move into second place, and trying to go with him on the outside is Jay Esterer. Now, Esterer wasn't at the first weekend of racing here at Hampton Downs because he had to fly another GM1 McRae into New Zealand after the coming together with Kenny Smith at Manfield in round number 2. So it's the Quicksilver Racing McRae GM1 that Jay Esterer out of Canada is racing, and at the moment he sits in 4th place. 22 cars face the starter in this one, and they're all chasing this man. Car number 64, the Lola T400 of the young gun Michael Lyons. He hasn't been beaten in a Formula 5000 race thus far here at Hampton Downs. This, though, round 4 of the MSC Tasman Cup Revival Series. Lyons a frequent visitor with his mother and father, Frank and Judy, both racing in this event. But they're all chasing the kid at the moment. In second place, it is the veteran, the 3-time champion, that is Ken Smith. Back in the ex-David Abbott Lola T430, raced by Teddy Paulette in Team VDS, one of only 2 cars of its kind in captivity, and both of them owned by David Abbott. And he can't make an impression on the youngster for the moment. We go back on board here with Jay Esterer out of Canada, the 48-year-old. Had that coming together with Ken Smith in round number 2 at Manfield. Destroyed the new Lola 332 of Ken Smith and Jay Esterer's other McRae. So he's bought his second car out. as they work their way into the hairpin. There is Kenny Smith, just getting a little bit sideways going in. Mark Dwyer has got up into third place, and then it would be Steve Ross, and then it would be Estera out of Canada, won the Lady Wigram Trophy, round 1 of the MSC Tasman Cup Revival Series. Car number 42 there, this is Alan Dunkley in the Lola T140, ex-Carter, ex-Suzuki Swift Cup racer. This is car number 74, this is a Gurney Eagle, and this is Frank Lyons. This is Michael Lyons' father. We go back on board here with Jay Estera as they cross the stride, coming up over the hill here at Hampton Downs into this blind turn number 1. There is Steve Ross, and right in behind him it will be our camera car, and that is Canada's Jay Estera. Back on board with him here, just up in front of them, Mark Dwyer, another frequent visitor to our shores here for the MSC Tasman Cup Revival Formula 5000 series. Just disappearing out of the shot there was the race leader, and that is Michael Lyons in the Lola T400. Just look how close Jay Estera wants to get to Steve Ross as they come into the hairpin. Oh, and he gets too close. He runs up over the right rear, and that's enough to send him off into the gravel trap. Well, that's an unfortunate end to the popular Canadian. There he is, stranded. Have a look at it from the outside camera angle here. Just touches the right rear of the car of Steve Ross. Puts the other McRae GM1 out and onto the gravel. There it is again. As close as you like to racing here in the MSC Tasman Cup Revival Series, and Jay Estera now a spectator. Well, the lights are off on the BMW safety car as we come back to Hampton Downs for the resumption of this Formula 5000 race. There is the race leader. That is Michael Lyons. Right in behind him it is Ken Smith, then Mark Dwyer, Steve Ross in the McRae GM1. So Lola's 1, 2 and 3. Then it's a New Zealand design car. And then, of course, we lost Jay Estera. That was the reason for the safety car. So then I think it would be Roger Williams from Auckland, and also Frank Lyons from the UK in the Dan Gurney Eagle. So only a couple of laps left in this one in anger anyway, and it looks like it's going to be another win for the young gun out of Essex in the UK. This is Michael Lyons. He's been here before in the Tasman Cup Revival Series, but he hasn't come here fresh from a British Championship. He's been doing a lot of driving this season, and it certainly showed off. As you can see that the 3-time champion Ken Smith has got no answer to the Lola T400 of Michael Lyons. There is Smith in second place. Good battle going on for the minors though, with Mark Dwyer and Steve Ross running just about wheel to wheel as they come up over the hill. Here is Lyons. He will win the race. Ken Smith will get second. Now, who's going to get third? 31's going to play a part in this as well, and that is John Bryant, and right in behind him it is car number 20, Tim Rush, in the ex-Tony Roberts McLaren M22, as we go back to the front of the field here, and it's as close as you like. It's the Lola T400 leading the McRae GM1. It is Mark Dwyer out of England leading Dunedin, Steve Ross. That's the battle for third and fourth. Over the top and heading down into the hairpin again comes the race leader, but look at this as they close in. Steve Ross gets a little bit closer under braking. Dwyer doing everything he knows to try and hold off the man from Dunedin, the man that would be the points leader in the MSC Tasman Cup Revival Series. Has a good long look on the outside, round the big sweeper at the top end of the circuit. It's going to come down to a drag race to the flag here, I think. Michael Lyons is going to win it. Kenny Smith is going to be second, but this is where all the action is. Here comes the big charge from the Dunedinite. Steve Ross down the inside. Did he get the nose in front? I think he did. Great racing in the Formula 5000s. Michael Lyons takes the race. Oh, and that is Eric Hager that stopped in turn number 1. And that is not the safest place to be as the rest of the cars come thundering over the hill and into turn number 1. So Michael Lyons gets the win. Ken Smith is second, and in third place I think the judges will go with the New Zealander Steve Ross, and that's the way they've seen it. So Ross is accredited with third. There is absolutely nothing in it between himself and Mark Dwyer. Then it was Auckland's Roger Williams, Frank Lyons and Brett Willis.
Mike, well done. You brought that one home, and I believe that you've got a track record as well.
Yeah, we got under the minute yesterday in qualifying, and we finally got the chance to do it in a race. It's great. I'm really pleased. First man under a minute.
Kenny, a bit of a funny race really, because I guess you only had 3 or 4 laps and a safety car.
Yeah, it's a pain when it comes out because tyres go cold and you've got to work at it, and it takes 2 or 3 laps to get them back at their firing order, and that's exactly what's happened, unfortunately. But you've got to do it. If they've got a safety car, well, you've got to put up with it.
The points leader in the MSC Formula 5000 Revival Series was Steve Ross, but he lost the race in the first turn of lap number 1.
Yeah. Well, you know, when you start second, and I had brain fade in the first corner, so he ended up fourth, so it wasn't very good.
Steve Ross can be excused for being confused. This was the most exciting finish we've seen in Formula 5000 racing.
Yeah, I knew Steve was well on my heels there, and I gave it as much gas as I could and thought that we'd just managed to squeeze that, but according to the timesheets and the results, it was not to be, so I'm not sure quite what happened there.
I left my braking too late going to the hairpin and ended up running into his right rear tire with my front left, and bending my spoiler flicked me into the air and I went into the gravel trap.
Not for the first time, Jay Esterer has some repairs to make in New Zealand. This time in his backup car after coming together with Ken Smith in round 2. Problems too for the veteran, Eric Hager. The question has often been asked, how would a top modern day driver fare in one of these 70s vintage monsters? We got our answer at Hampton Downs when Greg Murphy and Andy Booth climbed into the driver's seat. Booth drove the David Abbott-owned Lola T430 and Murph got to put the Chris Lambden-owned New Zealand-designed McRae GM1 to the test. Re-ride with them here. Both these guys have raced single-seaters at the highest level, and both are New Zealand Grand Prix winners, Murphy in 1994 and Booth in 2000. With limited time, their lap times were impressive, and it would have seen them both in the top 10, with Murphy qualifying 5th.
Holy
Boothie, I don't know what you reckon, mate, but for me that was almost better than Sex. That was sensational, wasn't it?
Well, I don't know what your sex is like, but that was actually better than mine for sure. That was, how big is this smile, mate? That is unbelievable.
It's been a long time since I've driven a single seater, probably you too, but I've never driven anything with that much horsepower that fires off the turns that good. I mean, that was head snapping stuff.
No, it was. It's, you know, you just line it up, and when you're comfortable, light the fuse, and that is just awesome acceleration.
I think now officially we can't be actually put into the books as being men racing car drivers, being that we sit in cars with roofs. We're officially pussies, and the men that drive these are real men. You'd have to agree?
Absolutely back that up. My old man was racing one of these a year I was born, and I've always told him I was going to drive one day and go faster than him. But mate, Dad, you're a real man.
Yeah. Ditto.